The stage is set at the Texas Motor Speedway for the opening race of the round of 8 of the playoffs. Just 4 races to go for 8 drivers in their quest to win the Season 1 championship on the NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode. And still, our driver, a rookie driver, Keegan Schneider for Hendrick Motorsports, coming in with a 9-win season, keeps his season alive with a second-place finish at the Charlotte Roval to barely make his way into the round of 8 off of points. What will happen over the next 3 races as they have to get over the hump in that terrible stretch of runs on mile and a half, because 2 of them will start off the round, of course, today at Texas. A 500-mile, 334-lap race will be set, and who will go to victory lane to punch their ticket to the Championship 4 at Phoenix. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get into tonight's starting lineup for today's race. And as we take a look at today's starting lineup, Kyle Busch will be on the pole for this one. He is the only Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota in the round of 8 of the playoffs. Yes, the other 3 have already been eliminated in the first 2 rounds. Martin Truex Jr., one of those guys who were eliminated, starts outside of the front row. Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell will line up in row 2. Keselowski comes in as the 8th place driver in the point standings into today's race. His teammate Ryan Blaney and Matt DiBenedetto will line up in row number 3. Blaney, the number 7 seed for this round. Joey Logano and Kurt Busch will line up in row 4. They have both been eliminated from championship contention already this season. And Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will round out the top 10. For our driver, Keegan Schneider, not a great qualifying effort. Ended up qualifying back in the 29th position. Could have been a little bit better. Got a little slick off turn 4. Hopefully they can tighten it up just a hair and have a better run in the race. And as far as the point situation goes, that will be on the left side of your screen throughout this premiere. 48 points to the good is our driver Keegan Schneider coming into this round of the playoffs. Kyle Larson plus 21. William Byron at plus 13. And only 2 points above the cutoff line for Joey Logano. Chase Elliott minus 2, Kyle Busch minus 3, and then Blaney minus 13, Keselowski minus 16. That is how tight it is. We're on the road to Daytona. 27 days to the Daytona 500. 13 days away from the live commentary of the Busch Clash live on KRC on the channel here. And now it is time to set up for 500 miles. A DNF, and you may put yourself in a must-win situation no matter who you are. Kind of a staggered start here as they get to the start-finish line. Kyle Busch leads the field to the green, and we're underway at Texas Motor Speedway as the round of 8 will begin. Schneider spun the tires off the start, couldn't get going, and loses a couple spots on this bottom lane. All about survival for the 500 miles. Schneider has that 31-point cushion. He's had a hard time. He has DNF'd quite a bit so far in the playoffs. For the first 6, he has DNF'd. First and second in the 2 races, he did not DNF, and that's why he barely made it on points at the Roval. He's lucky enough to have 9 wins on the season to give himself a decent amount of playoff points to put himself in this situation. Currently sitting in 33rd. Car's a little on the loose side. Turns 1 and 2, as you just saw right there. Overcast skies, 71 degrees for today's race. No stability help is on. Or no stability help at all, I should say. The 550 ovals on this game, and Schneider's going to have to try and hang on. He has 1 win on a mile and a half this season in his rookie year. It was at Las Vegas, but it was in a 50% race. Of course, this is a 100% race as he's making some moves to the inside in turns 1 and 2. Putting out a line. He may take it 3 wide into turn 3. This could be tight. Corey LaJoie not giving him much room. A little bit of contact. Schneider chases the car in line behind LaJoie as LaJoie just, again, did not give him any room at all. Luckily, Schneider was able to hold on. He did gain 2 positions that last lap up to 31st now, but look at the loss of momentum with him having to hop out of the throttle to make sure the car was going to stay steady. Great handling, though, in turns 1 and 2, it looks like. Massive, massive run. Big block by Quinn Houff down the back straightaway on Corey LaJoie. Schneider down to the apron. Clips that white line. Got a little bit loose. And up the track he goes. Had to hop out of the throttle. Did a great job making the save on that race car. And he's very fortunate that the cars behind him were able to check up in time as well without getting into the back of him. Schneider's already clinched the Rookie of the Year because he's the only rookie to even make the playoffs to begin with. I will say also that the game has had issues with crashing on me today at Texas whenever green flag pit stops come into play. Not for myself, but for the AI, so it's hard to run practice. I didn't actually get any practice times correlated to the rest of the field because it would crash on me if an AI car pit. So I do remember that being a factor on the custom schedule season as well. So if we have any green flag pit stops today, which in a 500-mile race you'd have to assume would likely be the case, could have some issues with that, and we might have to shorten this race up on the fly or something so we can get to the end. You definitely tell Schneider is faster. He just did not have a good qualifying lap. He got too loose off the exit of turn 4, kind of clipped the grass on the front stretch. In doing so, contact after Quinn Houff blows a bad block on him in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Schneider had a big run, a big slide, and a great catch in the middle of turns 3 and 4. It's amazing he was able to hold on to that race car. Going to wear those tires out quite a bit more, though. That continues to happen. Lost about 2 seconds behind that pack as well. They're racing side by side, nearly 3 wide with each other. Lap 10, the car still got good handling, at least in clean air for the 48. Wants to get by those 7 cars that are out in front of him because he knows he's faster, and once the tires get a little bit older on the 550 tracks in this game, the car gets super, super tight, especially in traffic, so he'd like to get ahead of those guys in clean air as soon as he possibly can. It does seem like the 48 car is a little bit better in turns 1 and 2 than what he is in turns 3 and 4. Had a looser setup in qualifying as well compared to what he's got in the race today also. That may tighten it up a little bit more in the long run, but you have to make it to the long run, obviously, to even see what the long run speed's got, and with the previous setup, it just wasn't going to be possible. I feel like it's probably going to spin out. A little bit of contact he saw on 2 occasions already with the 48 car would not have made it with the old setup, I can guarantee it. And to hop out of the gas in the middle of 1 and 2, we got tight as he's getting closer behind the 0-0 of Quinn Houff. And turns 1 and 2 has a little less banking than 3 and 4, so 3 and 4 might be a little bit easier as he's able to go full throttle there, even in the dirty air. But you can tell that his race car was not hooking the bottom quite as well as it was. Managing the throttle as well as he can. 2x2 traffic in front of him. Pretty good run for the 48 right now. A couple of lane changes going on. Into turn 3, Quinn Houff potentially going to take it 3 wide, decides not to. Schneider was sitting back behind these guys. He's had a couple of sketchy moments already in this race. Just to the outside, it looks like of Justin Haley. Going to be interesting down into turns 1 and 2. He's got a little bit of clean air. Everybody goes to the bottom in front of him, so what a heads-up move by the rookie Schneider to go to the outside to make those passes. 2 of them at least. Anthony Alfredo going to pull out of line, trying to make a move on the 7 of Corey LaJoie. Schneider sitting behind both of them. Looks like he'll try to get to the inside of LaJoie, and does. trying not to buck draft the 38 of Alfredo. Alfredo moves up. Now Schneider has the clean air to the bottom lane into turns 1 and 2. He'll make the pass, and he's up to 27th. So, rookie trying to go forward. He feels he's got a decent car, and honestly, for a mile and a half, he feels that this is one of the best mile and a half race cars he's had for speed this season. But it's also 100 miles longer than most of the other mile and a half races this year. We'll see how he can get through it. $13 DNFs this season for the 48 group. But the shot at the championship is still alive, and in fact, they're the #1 seed in the round of 8. They were the #2 seed when the playoffs started, but that win back at Richmond helped the 48 get the #1 seed overall. Of course, Kyle Larson, the regular season champion. It is a possibility all 4 Hendrick Motorsports Chevys can make it into the championship 4. In fact, 1 through 3 to start the round of 8. William Byron has 3 wins in the playoffs in the first 6 playoff races. So he's added quite a few more playoff points even since the 10-race playoff began and started all the way back in the Southern 500 at Darlington. He won that race. He won the Bristol Night Race. Then he won the round of 12 opener at Las Vegas, which was the last mile and a half we were on. So he could be a contender again here today. Schneider's car is getting a little bit tighter. Lap 18, he's not quite in the dirty air yet. As far as behind McDowell and Suarez and Busher up here. We're all battling for position. Schneider's got a pretty big run into turns 1 and 2. McDowell and Suarez have been side by side for about 3 laps, really slowing each other down to the point where even Busher's pulling away from him. Schneider in the dirty air had to lift quite a bit in turns 1 and 2. Now into turns 3 and 4. Still kind of sitting behind him. He can't quite hold full throttle sitting behind these 2 guys. But as they side draft again on the front stretch, it's going to give the 48 a pretty big run. And he is all over the back of the 34. Now he's going to pull out 3 wide. This is interesting. Will he have enough room into turn 3? Contact with the 34 that nearly turned the 48 around. That was a risky move. And usually it would just turn the 48 into the outside wall. We've seen DNFs with those kinds of hits into the wall this season out of the 48. And hopefully as he grows deeper into his career, over the next few seasons on this career mode, the experience will come along with maybe not DNFing as much throughout the course of the season. One could hope, of course. Really tight in turns 3 and 4 that lap as well. He actually got on the brakes. He was riding the brakes when he was making that contact with the 34 of McDowell. Interesting dilemma here at lap 48 that Schneider is going to have to pit very soon. Again, the fuel window on the ovals in particular, it's most tracks in this game, but on the ovals in this game, for whatever reason, you can't go as far as the AI on fuel. So Schneider will have to pit likely before everybody else. He's still on the lead lap, but he's the last car on the lead lap in 27th. Ryan Blaney is the leader. Brad Keselowski second, Mark Truex Jr. third. Of course, if you look again on the left side of your screen, that Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, they're the 2 bottom feeders as far as the 8 drivers in the playoffs coming into the round. One of those guys win, they're automatically in the championship 4. And that will shift that cutoff line back even further. So Schneider is going to stay out one more lap. He'll be committed to pitting at lap 50. We can't go 50 laps on fuel at Texas. There's something wrong, seriously wrong with this game. Definitely going to have to pay attention to the crew chief here as far as the pit sequence goes. Actually going to take it to lap 51 instead of lap 50, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, you might be risking it. I just looked. We went 56 laps on fuel at Texas on the custom schedule season. And that's another thing I've noticed with this game, that when you're on race now, you can go a little bit longer on fuel than what you can on the career mode for whatever reason. But Schneider's not going to risk it any longer. He'll pit this time. He's about 5 seconds ahead of race leader Ryan Blaney as far as on the track goes. But he doesn't want to run out of gas, so he'll pit this time off turn 4. 45 miles an hour is the pit road speed limit. He'll easily get on in time. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. And around a wedge, going to be taken out of the race car for the 48 of Keegan Schneider. So 4 tires and fuel. Around a wedge coming out of the car. This will loosen it up. It's going to be very interesting, though, because he might be a little too loose on the short run, but the car extremely tight from lap 25 to 30 and onward into the run. A little past halfway through the run, and he started falling off the pace a little bit. He was still faster than all the cars he had passed to get up to 27th, but the cars that were in front of him were starting to pull away, and as you saw, they were about 7 seconds ahead of Schneider by the time he came into the pits, despite the fact he was battling for position with him right about lap 25. He just couldn't battle any longer. Game turning me to the left, trying to get up to speed. Oh man, I do not like that. I do not like how he was doing that. Schneider's got the precious tires in the field, but he's back in last place. And he's probably 2 laps down, if I had to imagine. Should be able to go full throttle now, though. And again, he had a round of wedge out of the race car, so it may be a little bit looser in the short run. The hope is that it'll be a little bit better in the longer run. But as the rest of the field gets into green flag pit stops, we'll see if the game crashes or not. Yeah, this is the first race at Texas in the career mode, so it may not do it in the career mode. But if it does, just going to end up running a shortened version of this race just so we can get it in. Wow, Schneider very loose. Very, very loose. Off the exit of turn 2. What a great save. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time, though, and obviously it's going to wear the tires out a little bit more also. And to kind of get on the brakes there. He's got a lot of clean air. The car, you would think, with the 550 package shouldn't jump that far loose, but he was a little on the loose side on the beginning of the run anyway, and obviously taking that round of wedge out of the car as well, not going to help. I think part of the problem is you come off the exit of the corner. The transition from the banking to the flat surface and the flat, lot less banking, I guess you would say, on the front stretch and the back stretch. And that's why the car gets light. And that's natural, but also you got to factor in that the game has so far of a pull to the left on ovals that also kind of throws it off. So the car's wanting to turn left more than what you actually want it to, and you're having to counteract this. You didn't have to get on the brakes that time, but you saw the car again in the middle of turns 1 and 2, skirting a little bit sideways. It's going to be interesting when he gets into traffic how it's going to work out for him. Because he's coming up on a lot of lap cars right now. He's faster with the fresh tires, and he was already faster than these cars he's coming up on anyway. Maybe we'll tighten up a bit in the lap traffic and he can actually run a little bit more smoothly, perhaps. And trying to pass these guys, we'll just have to wait and see. Really working the wheel about as well as he can right now. Going to go to the outside in turns 3 and 4. Make a pass on 2 of those lap cars. Get down to the bottom underneath Corey LaJoy. Now underneath the 78, BJ McLeod sends it to the inside of Anthony Alfredo, into the back of Austin Cindric. There's a big check up there. 48's got to go up the hill a little bit. Great job not wrecking it. And throw the block on the Joy, make sure he's not going to be on the outside into turns 3 and 4. Jumps again back down to the bottom. Underneath McLeod. Schneider's being a little patient with the front cars in this pack. So he really does not want to wreck. No, he wanted to go to the outside, but Alfredo took his line away. Lap traffic is holding up the 48 big time. Again, he'll go to the outside. You saw Alfredo move up, trying to take the line away the 48 again, but that time he holds on. Oh no! Gralla gets into the side of Schneider, and that got Schneider a little loose into turn 1. But he's able to clear 16 and move on. That was not ideal right there. That was some risky racing, and really it wasn't Schneider's fault. They could potentially battle for position depending on how slow the 48 stop was. It's just amazing that Schneider couldn't go that far on fuel. He pit at lap 52. We're at lap 62 for everybody else. Actually, considering he's 2 laps down, it's lap 63, and they still have not pit yet. Schneider may have to end up making one more pit stop total in this race today, depending on how things play out. He's making up time right now, and there's race leader Ryan Blaney into the pit, so that'll give the lead now to Brad Keselowski. Schneider really wants to get one of these laps back in case we get a caution as well. Can't blame him there. Gaggle of cars going into turn 3. They were 3 wide. Oh, Keselowski, the leader, gets turned, and the 48 gets into him. No, caution, and now the caution waves. Schneider was coming in with a full head of steam. Keselowski didn't see him. He pulled down in front of him. And the leader, as well as the 48, gets hooked. And that is going to trap Keegan Schneider 2 laps down. Just like that. I wondered if that was going to happen, and he thought about going to the outside, but Truex was already there. And he had such a big run on the bottom. That is very unfortunate. Schneider didn't take that hard of a lick. You can see he's got a little bit of damage, but I think he'll be alright. And we have our first caution of the day. At least I won't have the game crash because of it. We'll see how the restart will go. Schneider, 2 laps down. Should be 2 down and 40. Oh, the game. I didn't even do that. I'm not even doing anything, guys. Are you kidding me? The game was turning me to the left. I was on the brakes. Yeah, the game is... Oh my gosh. The game is turning me to the left. There's an RV in the infield. I don't know why the game's turning me to the left like that. I mean, I probably have a tire down now, but the game turned me to the left. I did not do that. And now my car's totaled. They're already 2 laps down. I don't have a tire down, but now the car's totaled. And we're 2 laps down and last. Maybe 3 because the caution might have put us an extra lap down. This is before the patch, by the way. Just throwing that out there also.
You got about 5 laps of fuel left.
And now the telemetry's off again. I don't understand why the game is... I had no control of the car. Because I was trying to get on the brakes. The game was sending me full throttle and turning me to the left. What? And why?
Alright, hold your line. Clear all
Now the car's totaled and we're just getting blown by everybody. Because now we're at least 3 down. Because they just passed us. Now we should be 3 down. Even though we should be 2 down, technically, because game wrecked us. I'm not even hitting 175 miles an hour at the end of the front stretch anymore. I'm just going to end it. You know what? For my own sake. I haven't lost my cool. And I've been staying pretty calm. I'd like to keep it that way. We're hitting 171 miles an hour at the end of the backstretch. Like, this is just not going to end well. And it's like Schneider's just going to have to DNF, and we're going to have to simulate the rest of this race. I don't like giving up like this, but because the game has put us an extra lap down and given us heavy damage, there's nothing we can do. I mean, yeah, we can maybe get a couple DNFs, but we'd have to get 5 just to get another point, because it wouldn't be 2 points for us until we get to 35th place. Again, I just want to put into perspective that you guys know very well, and we have ran races 4 or 5 laps down before with damage. NASCAR Heat 4, NASCAR Heat 5, NASCAR Thunder 04, NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Even on NASCAR 21 Ignition, we did it in the custom schedule season in the playoffs. And that elimination race at Daytona, for instance, we finished like 4 laps down. Just kind of ran there, even though we got wrecked on lap 1. And it wasn't my fault. You know, Kyle Larson turned us on the opening lap for no reason, because the AI aren't bright in this game. And, you know, the crash was started because Keselowski threw a block on us, and he may have been trying to get into the pits, but we don't know. And you could say I could have been more aware of that, and I would agree with you. You know, probably could have or should have been more aware of that situation. That could have been the outcome that could have happened. But what I will say is the game should not have turned me to the left on the restart. It gave me a lot of damage that we weren't going to be able to repair it all. And it also put me in a situation where not only I had a lot of damage, but I lost another lap. I was already 2 down. That, you know, wasn't my fault for the caution, but maybe I could have been a little bit more cautious again. It was a racing deal. The wreck between Keselowski and I at the end of the day, it was more of a racing deal. But then the game crashing me, costing me another lap. So then I was 3 down in last. We were 2 laps behind the next closest car. And we had significant damage. We were the slowest car on the track after that. So that's why I chose the DNF. I wasn't going to sit through this, because I probably still would have had about 2 to 2.5 hours left of the race. And I've got other things I can get done and get this edited a lot quicker. I'm not going to waste 2 hours of my life to run last place on NASCAR 21 Ignition. 31-point cushion. We'll see who's going to win. 2 laps to go. In this 500-mile race at Texas, Schneider will finish last. Kind of riding around buying his own time right now. Huge wad of cars going 2 and 3 wide. Really 3 by 3 right in front of him. A little bit of contact as well. They work their way off of turn 4. White flag is in the air, though, for the leaders. Who will win and potentially make it to the Championship 4 with a win today at Texas? Blaney and Keselowski have dominated the day so far. Will it be one of those two? It'll be Kyle Busch, who started on the pole. There's Schneider dropping back to last. That's where he is, unfortunately, going to finish now at his 14th DNF of the season. Weren't last place finishes in all 14 of those, but still 14 DNFs. And the checkered flag is waving. And we'll see who's going to go on to win. Denny Hamlin will win his 3rd race of the season. He's won at Texas a few times. That is a driver who was eliminated in the round of 16 to the playoffs. So Hamlin winning means that nobody will be locked into the Championship 4 after the first race of the round at Texas. Kurt Busch finishes in 2nd, Chris Buescher 3rd, Tyler Reddick 4th, Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5. Cole Custer 6th, Eric Jones 7th, Austin Cindric 8th, Kyle Busch, pole sitter finished 9th, and Justin Haley rounds out the top 10. Again, randomized finishing order with the DNFs in this game too, so that may have helped Schneider a little bit, but obviously last place finish isn't going to help. It's only going to hurt. Good news is Kyle Busch, the only playoff driver that is in the round of 8 at least, that had actually finished in the top 10. Playoff drivers outside the top 10 would include Ryan Blaney 13th. Man, oh man, you gotta go way down the list here. Kyle Larson 21st, William Byron 23rd, Brad Keselowski 24th, Chase Elliott 25th, Joey Logano 35th, and Schneider in last. So now we'll take an updated look at the point standings heading into the second race of the round at Kansas. Kyle Larson now currently the number 1 seed. Keegan Schneider goes from 31 points above the cutoff line, with the DNF now only 19 points above the cutoff line over Ryan Blaney. Brad Keselowski in a pretty deep hole still. William Byron, final driver above the cutoff line, actually tied with Kyle Busch at 3rd, but they're both the final drivers above the cutoff line, 14 points to the good on Ryan Blaney, so that playoff battle has expanded a little bit. Not quite as close as what it once was. But nevertheless, that is the way it is shaping up. 3 races to go. Schneider's championship hopes still alive, even with the DNF today. Obviously, going to have to really perform well at Kansas. He DNF'd at Kansas earlier this season, so he's got to hope he can get through there. And then Martinsville is going to be a tough one. We only ran 250 laps at Martinsville earlier this year. It will be the full 500 this time around. Gotta survive. Gotta survive. At 3 DNFs, you know for a fact that you're not going to make it to the championship 4-2. You may not make it. It's still potentially there that you could make it on points. If obviously I don't go on to win, I'd say Martinsville, who knows? It is a 750 track. I will have stability help on because of it. But who's to say that we're going to have the speed to go along with it? We might have the handling, like we did at the other 750 tracks where I had stability help on and make it to the end of the race. Sometimes we've had speed, like at Richmond, and sometimes we don't have speed with the like Dover, where I ran top 10 all race, but I didn't really have a race winning car. I think I finished 3rd. So New Hampshire, same thing. Had a top 5, top 10 car all day. Didn't have the fastest car. Finished, I think, like 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever it was there. So that's going to round it out here for this one. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys for the next live stream tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. NASCAR Chase Cup 2005 Truck Series Custom Schedule Season at the Glen. I'll see you guys then.